Okay, this is 5 Minutes with George Prest, the Executive Creative Director at RGA London. Hi George.
Hi.
Can you give us a quick summary of your career to date?
I started in 1999. I worked with a guy called Johnny Leathers and we got a job at BBH, and we spent about 6 years at BBH. Then we went to Lowe to go and work for Ed Morris, and then I went to DLKW from Lowe to be an ECD. Did that for a bit, and then Lowe bought DLKW, so I ended up as ECD of DLKW Lowe, and I left there about a year ago now, and now I'm at RGA London, which is a whole new world.
And how long have you been here for?
I've been here for about 6 months now, which is great, you know.
How would you describe the creative industry in 3 words?
It's a tricky question. I'm not going to answer it yet, because the creative industry is an absolutely enormous thing, but the creative advertising marketing sort of world is changing very fast.
Okay. What advice would you give someone who's looking to get into the industry today?
Have a good look at the industry before you decide what you want to do, because there are so many different facets to it now, and you know, for me there are bits of it that are really exciting and really future facing and really interesting, and bits of it that I really believe are the future of marketing and our whole industry. And there are bits of it that when you're young I think seem really exciting, but could be sort of shuffling towards a slow death. So yeah, I'd have a good hard look at it, and I'd work out what you want to do, and I'd work out what companies are doing stuff that you're passionate about, and I'd have a good think about where you want to be in 10 years time and 20 years time, and you know, really what you want to spend the rest of your life doing, and then plan it out from there.
5-10 years ago, did you ever think you'd end up being in a pure play digital agency?
No, I didn't actually. 10 years ago, when did I start? 12 years ago. I wanted to have fun, and I wanted to write, and I wanted to work in an industry that didn't take itself too seriously and would give me opportunities to travel, and I might see my stuff on TV or in newspapers, and you know, that kind of was what motivated me. Now I think I've had a good long think about things, and I think, I don't know, maybe 10 years into your working life you have a proper think about what you want to spend the rest of your life doing. And actually the digital revolution, if you want to call it that, I think has opened up a whole new world to people in our industry, and it actually means that we can build things and make things and that are useful to people. And I think, you know, in the old days I kind of passionately believe that you have to bring one of 3 things. There's no point in being in this industry if you're not being entertaining, or you're not creating things that are beautiful, or you're not making things that are useful, then there's no real point. And I really think, you know, what digital's brought is the opportunity to make things that are useful to people and actually enrich people's lives and add value to them. And I think the opportunities to do things that are beautiful or entertaining are getting fewer and fewer. And I guess that's a decision that I made for myself, was that actually utility and being useful and hopefully entertaining at the same time is where the future is, and that's what the digital world allows you to kind of do. So that's why I sort of made the switch that I did, I suppose.
Who inspires you creatively?
Well, there are some obvious answers to that, I suppose. You know, I think that Steve Jobs was an amazing person. I know that's a total cliche. But I think the people who really inspire me are people who have a vision, and people who know what they want to do, and they have, you know, one thing and they do it really, really well. So artists and writers, and you know, so for instance, I love Cormac McCarthy, who's an American author who just writes the most beautiful books, and he has his style and he has his way of doing it, and it's like staggeringly beautiful what he writes. So and then in the industry, I mean, I work with this guy called James Temple, who's like, I think he might be a wizard actually, because he just he's amazingly inspiring, and he just knows everything about technology, stuff that I will never know about and stuff that I never really want to know about. I love working with people who get it, and I love bringing what I bring. But he's he's really, really good at what he does as well. And then, you know, historically, I tried to work for people that I really admired. So I worked for John Hegarty and I worked for Ed Morris, who I think is one of the most creative people I've ever met. You know, he's sort of got creative Tourette's. I think he just sort of spits ideas out like swear words, while swearing quite a lot most of the time as well. So yeah, lots of things inspiring. I'm going to the theatre tonight to go and see a play I've been wanting to see for a year called Jerusalem, which I can't wait to go and see. So, you know, I'm really excited about that as well.
What's the best brand you've ever worked on?
I've worked on. I suppose, being at the agencies I've been at, I've worked on Lynx, I've worked on Levi's, I've worked on Audi, I've worked on Stella Artois, I've worked on John Lewis. I mean, they're all really, really good, strong brands that have a belief in actually creating, and, you know, the power of creating stuff to move people and inspire them and sort of change the way that they feel about, you know, the brands. You know, strong brands, I think, really they kind of buy into creativity, and they're fearless, and they take risks, and they kind of, you know, they really believe that there's no point in being mediocre. You've either got to be really good or really bad, but there's no point. The middle ground's just is nothing. So, and now I work on Nike and O2 and Rexona, which, funnily enough, I worked on before, and I work for Dr. Dre at the moment as well, which is quite a mad thing.
Cool.
But so yeah, there are lots of good brands out there. Lots of good brands out there.
What key factors do you think led you to being promoted to the level that you are today?
I don't know. Another cliche, but you know, I work very hard. I've got a real idea of what I want to do and where I want to go. I'm not afraid to make kind of tough decisions about myself or about stuff. I've got half a brain. I can speak reasonably well. A lot of creative people, I think, just the nature of the type of people that it chucks up are introverted and kind of and sort of, I don't know, they go into their shell, and I can speak reasonably well, and I think that if you really want, you know, actually if you want to be a creative director, and if you want to sell stuff and you want to talk to clients and you want to be vaguely sort of coherent, then the ability to speak is quite a good thing as well.
Okay, what gives you the most satisfaction from the people that work with you or kind of under you?
Just how brilliant they are. You know, here, especially at RGA, I just work with people who are young, clever. They've grown up, you know, around technology, and they really, really understand how technology fits into people's lives. And I think, you know, that understanding is absolutely key going forwards. You know, technology will be at the heart of everyone's life if it's not already incredibly soon. And if you understand that, and you understand how brands can fit into that, and how brands can enrich that life, then the world's your oyster, really. I mean, in fact, if you get all that, don't work in advertising. Go and set up a startup somewhere. Go to San Francisco and make a lot of money for yourself. But if you don't want to do that, come and work at RGA.
What are your interests outside of work?
I have a lot of kids. So right now, my family...
You've got a lot of kids? Yeah,
I've got four kids. So my family consumes most of my time when I'm not working, which isn't very often. I love books and films and art and then I kind of, because of the job I'm doing and the job I used to do, I have a very healthy interest in technology in the online world and just stuff, you know, things that people make that are really cool. So yeah, when I have time I do lots of things.
Okay, what's the biggest risk you've taken in your career?
Well, if I'd listened to everybody who gave me advice over my career, then everything I've ever done is an enormous risk. But I think risks are incredibly important. You know, I guess it goes with what I was saying about the work, is that if you're not taking risks, if you're not challenging yourself, if you're not doing things that feel a bit sort of a bit edgy, then I just don't really see much point in doing it. So, you know, when we left BBH, they said we were taking a big risk going to Lowe. When I left Lowe, people said it was a big risk going to DLKW. When I left my job at Christmas because I wanted to do something else, everyone said, "Bloody hell, that's a bit risky, isn't it?" And coming here, where I could have fallen completely flat on my arse, that was a big risk as well. And if I do something after this, it'll probably be a risky thing. I think it's good to take risks.
With the current climate and economy not looking too positive, have you ever had the threat of redundancy before?
No. I did get a really big bollocking once off John O'Keefe at BBH, who sort of said to Johnny and I, you know, if you don't sort your shit out, you're going to be out of here. But that, he never actually went as far as sort of threatening that we'd lose our jobs. So, no, I haven't had the threat of redundancy. But I think we should all be feeling it at the moment.
Okay, and what's your favourite advertising campaign of all time?
Ooh. It's an interesting one. I don't really believe in campaigns anymore, so but I do sort of believe in them in conjunction with other things. But
would you believe in ideas or?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The power of ideas, the transformative power of ideas, and the the ability to tap into emotion and stuff. I mean, my favourite ads of all time, which isn't a bad, there was a golden age when I was starting out of Levi's drugstore, Guinness Surfer, Sony balls, most of the Stella Artois campaign. I think in the days when there wasn't anything other than entertainment or beauty, to really capture people's imagination or to create a relationship with them, when people really had to try hard to write really good ads, and when clients were braver, I guess, or I guess the whole landscape was different before digital really kicked in. There was some amazing work that got done then that I don't think happens anymore, and I don't think it's anyone's fault. I just think the media landscape's changed so much that that kind of work doesn't get done anymore. I mean, campaigns. I mean, clearly 30 years of Nike advertising has worked pretty well. Apple do their thing. It doesn't kind of grab me, but it's because they've got such great product. They don't really have to try too hard, I don't think. Stella was an amazing campaign. The old VW campaign. There's loads. There's been loads.
Okay, let's move on to a quick fire round.
Okay.
FWA or NMA?
FWA.
Can line or D&AD pencil?
Right now, can line. Historically, D&AD pencil. I think D&AD's got to sort its shit out pretty fast.
Digital design or graphic design?
Both. You can't separate them. Well, we don't. So.
Creatives or suits?
Creatives.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Degree or no degree?
If you know what you want to do, don't go and do a degree. If you don't know what you want to do, then a degree is a really good way of buying some time and having a proper look at things.
Getting some life skills.
Yeah.
Retained work or pitch work?
I love pitches. They're incredibly exciting. But it's always nice to have a retainer with a few people at the same time.
So you can leave work on time as well.
Yeah.
Web or mobile?
Again, you can't separate them, but mobile.
Independent agencies or networked agencies?
Really good, independent feeling networked agencies are fine.
Okay. Probably the most creative answer I've had to that question. Outsourced production or on-site production?
On-site.
Miami Ad School or Hyper Island?
Bergs.
Watford or Bucks?
Bergs.
And lastly, Don Draper or Roger Sterling?
Don.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Alright, cheers.